Welcome back to The Edge. Political ad changes are up in 2022. Google's also taking up a lot more real estate on the SERP. The volatility of December 2020 updates continues, and we've got a full-grown adult. Happy 18th birthday to Search Engine Roundtable. You're listening to News from The Edge for the week of December 6th, 2021, right here on Edge of the Web Radio.
From the Edge of the Web studios, here's what we're looking at this week.
We're looking at it and we're bringing it to you. This is Edge of the Web Radio. I'm your host, Aaron Sparks, owner of Site Strategics. Each week, we bring you amazing guests to chat about digital topics and news that are trending in the marketplace. We're also covering SEO and digital news separate from our weekly interviews, getting you more news to you as quickly as possible. So be sure to check out all of our recent shows at edgeofthewebradio.com so you can see what we've been doing here last week and who we're going to be talking to in the future. This is the Site Strategics Digital Marketing News Desk of Edge of the Web. Joining me this week to get his take on the news is not Morty, but the Andrew Optimisey, founder of Optimisey. Sir, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Aaron. Thanks for having me. I'm sorry I'm not Morty, but I like to think I'm an improver, at least in some ways.
We like to think so as well. In fact, we use that reference regularly inside the office. At least we're not Morty, right?
We need to get that to catch on.
Well, we could absolutely have.
Really pulled a Morty.
Oh my gosh! See, there's so many different ways we can plug it in.
Such a Morty.
Well, Andrew, thanks for jumping on and jumping into the show with us. We certainly appreciate your time. You've done it a couple of times now.
It's nice to have me back, right? So if you've had me back, then it can't have been that bad the first time, right?
Well, I mean, we're trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's take a look at our first article here because we got a few of them to dive into. From Search Engine Roundtable, Google Ads election and political ad policy have changed for 2022. And this was from December 6th. Google posted a number of new Google ad policy changes that will take place in January and February of 2022 around political and election-based content in ads. Google's ending up the election ads exemption, creating new election ads serving options, and won't be accepting W-9s for verification and more. They got a pretty solid document to reference. We can't go through everything here, but they're ending election ad exemptions in February 2022. The Google Ads political content policy will be updated to eliminate existing products, services, and news exemptions to election ad policies worldwide, not just the U.S. They're also going to be enforcing the policy update on February 15th, 2022, and this policy will update ads for products, services, and news no longer, and they won't be exempt from the Google election ad policies. The new election ad serving options are going to be concurrent with the elimination of election ad exemptions on February 15th, 2022. Google said it will also expand ad serving options. Presently, the election ads can only serve in the country or region to which the ad content pertains, like the EU elections, as well as U.S. elections. U.S. elections can only serve U.S. After the change, advertisers who have completed either the election ad or advertiser identity verification will be eligible to serve ads in their home country or region. So this is worldwide, but we certainly saw a slew of policy changes during the 2016 election. There's a lot more to accomplish in verification of an identity inside of Google Ads, as well as Facebook for that matter. They're requesting a number of different things along with the W-9 form submitted to the IRS, such as 8871 or the 990, as well as any most recent SEC filing. So that said, they're kind of scrubbing the decks here and trying to reset going into the 2022 elections because we know it's going to be a hot mess, just like it was in 2016. So thoughts about election advertising? I don't know if that's your lane, Andrew, but I think we kind of highly recommend just staying away from that entire fracas. But what are your thoughts about this article?
When I see all these things like this, it always makes me think, okay, what's the motivation behind this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who's changing it and why? And the kind of cynical question is, follow the money. Where's the money going? And
Sure.
There's been a lot of this kind of stuff. There's been a lot of talk about, Facebook making this stuff where you can see who's funding an advert and who's paying for it and who's behind all these kind of things, because people are using that to kind of game the system and try and trick things and dupe people and not make sure that it was associated with the particular political entity. If you do think that for the US listeners. Like, if it's associated with the Democrats or the Republicans, then it's pretty obvious where it's coming from. But if it's this kind of, unknown entity, then it's kind of, misty, and then it's, plausible deniability for the politicos involved. I don't know about this kind of stuff. It's like, when I read stuff like this, I think, if I was a person with evil intent here, how would I game this system? And that the whole part about where you can have a company in a different country, and now you can show ads in that your home country.
Right.
I mean, I don't know about what it's like in the US, but it's pretty easy to set up a company in the UK, or at least enough of a company to get through those kind of systems if you wanted to.
Yep.
So maybe this is just a way for Google to make more money, right? Because there's a lot of people in the UK particularly that want to kind of they're offshore, but they want to influence UK elections because that's where they're hiding all their money, and they've got it in the Cayman Islands or in the Bahamas or wherever else it is. And now their company that's set up in the Bahamas, now they can actually legitimately run ads in the UK because, hey, they can register it in the UK. I mean, I don't know. It sounds legitimate on the surface, but if the doors are open to be able to register your company, and some of the documents here, bank statements dated within the last 3 months, that just has your identification on them. So it's not exclusively required, as I understand it, to have an IRS declaration. This is one of a number of different forms that you use. We've actually had to go through this a couple times with some of the clients that we advertise here over at Site Strategics, and the verification was pretty tight. This looks a little bit looser, all things being equal. Yes, forms submitted to the IRS, but also certificates of business incorporation, SEC filings, bank statements, business credit reports from Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, or Dun & Bradstreet. That can be done relatively quickly, right? Mm-hmm. You don't have to have any particular history behind it. You could be a brand new company. Right. So there was a lot of that, like the big thing in the EU, in the UK, and particularly where I am, was the Brexit elections. Mm-hmm. There were a whole kind of host of shell companies that were set up and put down to run all sorts of influencing things that were going on social media and on Facebook and running Google. It's like, if you have the will to do this kind of stuff and you've got enough money to kind of set up a few dummy companies, you're going to do this anyway, right? I mean, in a way, I kind of feel sorry for Google, because it's like, you're trying to play whack-a-mole with all this kind of stuff, like with the algo updates. Every time they update it, people find a new way to cheat it. People find new ways to kind of get through the loopholes and things. I would like to think that the motivation behind this is good, but it does feel a little bit like they're just kind of trying to ease those doors open a little bit wider so that let all those lovely ad revenues flow in. Maybe I'm just cynical.
On first blush, I mean, the whole, maybe you are, it does sound a little bit cynical, but on first blush, it looks like they're tightening up the regulations. But if you can ask,
which reads well, right? Reads well for Google. Hey, we're tightening things up. Look at the lovely new rules we're bringing in.
Exactly. Yeah, you look a little bit deeper, and it's like, all right, there's a number of different games that could be played there. That said, I don't feel too bad about Google, because they are also making a mess of the SERP regularly. And another key point, a news item that's not really an article, is Brodie Clark's Twitter. He actually jumped in there and referenced some new topography that we're seeing here. Google's tabbed jump to links test is combined with rich results that can actually take up a lot more space, says he. Google's tab jump to links test combined with rich snippets based on schema can actually take up a lot of space. And looking at FAQ and how-to rich snippets are when they're actually triggered. So there was a testing that's going on in force, is spotted by Akarsh K10 and Foodie by _nature. So we'll have the Twitter link in the show notes here. But if you look at the screen, what you're dealing with here is not only a rich snippet, but there's also an accordion of people also asked, plus, get this, a horizontal tabbed set of information. In this respect, NBN plans, evidently they're a virtual network, kind of like a VPN in Australia. There's also a series of, below the people also ask, a series of tabbed horizontal breakouts of information. That actually is opening up a whole nother piece of real estate underneath there. That organic visibility is now doubled on the SERP compared to other blue links out there. They also had a number of listicles that were broken out in rich snippets. So more and more area of information. Now it's being repurposed from the target article, but here's the deal. It's showing up on the Google SERP as a Google answer, so to speak, where's the impetus for someone to click deeper in and find more information if they're organizing your content in more of a, hey, this is your homepage type of perspective on Google? If it's answering the questions more and more, there's no real drive for a consumer to go down deeper because that's the information they were looking for anyway. Right, Andrew?
Yeah, this stuff gives, this is so tricky, this kind of stuff, because Google always hides this stuff behind it's good for users, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can totally see that, because it's like when you're searching for an answer, like, if you were in the business of selling information that is readily available, like, sports scores was the classic one. What time is it in Toronto? All those kind of like, what is the time.com website style things, Google's killed those. If you can just get a simple bit of information, like, what is 1 + 1, Google's got it in the calculators, or it's all shown in the search results. When they start to go a little bit beyond this kind of stuff and they're starting to pull in websites information and they're showing it in the search results, so you don't need to then go through to that website to collect that information anymore. You don't see any of my website ads. You don't see any of my branding. You don't see any kind of pop-ups or things that I might have to like kind of monetize you in some way to get you to subscribe to my newsletter, or however it is that all those kind of websites, we're all trying to, make a buck somewhere. But if Google's showing it all or enough, like to give the user what they're after on the search results, that's a really tricky one for me. I'm not comfortable with that kind of stuff. It's like you said, what's the incentive for users to click through to those websites? So then you take it that step further. What's the incentive for me to then write that good information?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. And the value of that SERP is no longer the value that I originally intended as the author of that article, because I could have a slew more valuable information. Google's lifting up what it thinks is the answer, but contextually, I could have 15 other pages that help that consumer understand more about what I'm talking about, and then ensuring that we're the expertise in that space and ensuring a potential conversion in one way, shape, or form. That's why we're writing that content. If the lift is happening all the time, then you're separating me from my consumer and a potential sale.
And with that, and there's been lots of examples of Google getting this horribly, horribly wrong, like, where they kind of show sort of snippet answers that are not the answer and like taking it massively out of context. There were some awful ones around like kind of what to do with people when they're choking, and where they got it really like, dangerously wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, those are really, rare examples, and sure, majority of the time then it's okay. But so this leaves a bad taste in my mouth, particularly because Google kind of treads this line between, we're not a publisher, we're just a curator.
Right.
And it's like where that line is getting fuzzier and fuzzier. And it's like when they're taking my content, or like not making it very personal, when they're taking other people's content and changing the context a little bit and putting it alongside other things, or they pull in an image from one of your competitors and show it alongside your article. You're kind of pretty much into the publisher realm now, my friends. It's like, then there's a whole different set of rules there, right? Then they're different, and like there's monetary things that start to get involved and legal things that start to get involved for Google. And so yeah, they're playing by a different set of rules, and it comes back to this thing of like, it's Google's playground and it's their ball and their rules and their playground, and they even own the freaking field that the playground's in. It's like, they
own all the streets to the playground.
They own the ball factory. They own the factory that prints the rule books. They own all of it. So it's like, you don't want to play the game. You need to like move country or something. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, so it's a tricky one. But yeah, I'm not. I mean, and we should like clarify that like this is a test. Like this is just one of many, many tests that Google are running in the search results all the time, and they'll be gathering the data about how users interact with this kind of stuff. Like, just because we're talking about it on Edge of the Web and just because it's been on Twitter doesn't mean this is how Google's going to do it. They may decide that actually this is terrible and they don't want it.
Right.
Who knows? The other side of this, I think there's an opportunity there too, right? Like looking at those screenshots that Brodie and Akash were sharing, it's like there's a lot of real estate in the search results. If you're getting like, a couple of, related questions, and you're getting these little carousels of, you're getting effectively like 3 or 4 of your different meta description bits pulled in.
Yeah.
And you're above your competitors in this space. Happy days.
Why would you want anything else?
Schema me up. Let's go. But yeah, so there's opportunities and negatives.
A t-shirt slogan: "Schema me up, let's go." All right,
it's like a Star Trek thing gone wrong, hasn't it?
Third article that we want to cover here is from Search Engine Roundtable. December's Google product reviews update is lit, and boy, my gosh, we can't go a week right now without talking about an update. We are talking about November's core update that was happening at the end of November. Now we're into product update, a product review update. So Google launched a new algorithm update on December 1st, named the December 1st, 2021 product review update. Pretty apropos. Since then, the tracking tools have been off the charts, showing insane levels, says Barry, of volatility, and that volatility has continued through this weekend. The chatter's not there, he says, but when comparing the tools, you can see a slew of activity. And Jacob's scrolling through the different tools of SEMrush and Cognitive, Rank Ranger, and the like. They're all just off the charts, and they haven't slowed down for the last 6 or 7 days. There are so many things that are shifting. The volatility is the global rank change, and we were talking about that last week with Morty regarding the Core Web Vitals update. Here's something, a bit more news into that space. Lily Ray is also tweeting right now, as well as Glenn Gabe is, about what's happening, and they're seeing that it's not just sites that have product reviews. A lot of declines are actually happening around affiliate product review sites that don't sell the aforementioned products. So the product sales that have reviews on them look to be actually getting some sort of an incline. They're not getting hit nearly as much, but these product review sites that don't sell, right, are getting dropped heavily in the rankings. And Lily's actually ascribing that to an EAT play, an expertise, authority, and trust play. If you're actually selling the product, you're getting reviews about the product, then you're probably going to be getting through this unscathed. So we're watching everything that the authorities in the space are actually measuring. We certainly do appreciate the review of these tools by Barry. We're just getting pummeled here with left and right algorithm changes here. Andrew, what are your thoughts about this happening right during Christmas of 2021? Timing on this?
I think I can speak for a lot of SEOs, and I can say I'm so tired. It's been such a long year anyway. And then, like, you get one algo update, and it's like, hey, this kind of stuff happens November, right before Black Friday and Cyber Monday.
Yep.
Like, a lot of friends in the e-commerce space not particularly thrilled with that kind of timing. I mean, and the argument to that is like, well, if your site's great, then you're going to do better in the algo update, so you should not be worried. But it's still just like, it's another thing to have to worry about and measure. So to then get hit with another algorithm update, okay, well, no, it's not a full algo. It's like this particular thing focused on products, but to get that literally like a week or so later,
right?
That's like, the punches just keep raining, right? So, again, like the cynic in me, like, thinks that there might be something deliberate going on with this kind of stuff. Like Google tends to do this kind of stuff where they'll release one or two really similar things. Like, when they did the deduplication thing, when like multiple sites couldn't appear in the results so many more times.
Sure.
Yeah, people have said that was mainly targeted around Pinterest, but that came out right around another algo update. It's like, just, you get so many different things happening around the same time. It makes it really hard to pin down to, okay, our traffic went up because of this, our traffic went down because of that. It's like, did you do well because of the update, or did you do well because of the product review tweak? Did you do badly because of the product change? It's like, just, there's so much obfuscation going on that it's like a part of that field may be deliberate. Maybe Google don't want people to be able to pin down exactly what it was they changed and what impact it had. I don't know. Yeah, it does feel like there's a lot going on at the same time. So my sympathies are with my SEO comrades in this difficult time.
There was a tweet from Matt Cutts that was floating around here several years back about the fact that Google would not actually do these type of sizable algorithm updates during this period of time. Well, that was, again, several years back, and who knows what the policy is. I think we're seeing the evidence that that's not being held to, right?
I mean, and again, like, this kind of thing, all those sites that did well out of the algo update right before Black Friday, they're happy as clams, right? It's like, woo, great timing by Google. What a great update. Now we're making money hand over fist.
Right.
All those sites that lost, that's the thing. Like, the algo updates are a zero sum, right? So, someone wins, someone loses.
Yep. So we covered to a great extent the November core algorithm update was and who it affected, and this one is just hopefully getting reined in soon. But we're seeing some clarity of who's actually getting affected right now. So watch as we lift up the different individuals that are reporting on this, and we certainly give huge praise to Glenn Gabe. He's always out there going deep in these spaces. He got a vantage point of a lot of clients that he can actually understand these different patterns. So
the thing I really like about Glenn and about Lily Ray as well,
yep.
when they write about this stuff, they're really open about how they do it. Because, with that kind of stuff, it's like you have to be careful about what you're counting and how you're counting it.
Absolutely.
Because if you go looking for changes in the SERPs, guess what? You're going to find changes in the SERPs. It's like, there are always changes to find, and like, sites that go up, sites that go down. It's that kind of, again, when I talk to my clients, you're looking at direction of travel. Are you going better or are you going worse? Like, you're now trending upwards, or you're trending, like, let's not start throwing babies in bathwater out because of, like, what happened in the last 7 days. It's a warning signal. Maybe you want to look at it. Maybe it's a good thing, but like, pinch of salt. Like, Glenn and Lily are great because they're really open with, like, how their methodology about how they go through this stuff.
Absolutely. Well, we're proud to have SiteStrategics as the title sponsor of Edge of the Web. We're the pioneers in agile digital marketing. Our core specialties are technical SEO, search engine marketing and management, social media marketing and management, conversion rate optimization, as well as results-based marketing collectively that actually works. So if you're interested in what we can do for you, give us a call at 877-SEO for web or 877-736-4932. And if you're so inclined to send us a fax, we'll certainly pick that up as well. All right. Anyway, last article we wanted to actually pivot around to and wish a great big happy birthday to our young adult. It's not ours, it's Barry's adult. 18 years he has been covering the search industry. What was it? December 2nd actually marked the 18th anniversary of Search Engine Roundtable. Barry Schwartz has been writing about search for over 40% of his life. And it's a great article breaking down his 18 years of quote unquote passion. I mean, he's been knocking it out of the park for such a long time. Search Engine Roundtable has certainly grown as a mainstay of information and references. But over just the last year, the articles that he's been covering have been immensely important. Over the last 12 months, he's covered the December core update, which is live right now, May 22nd core algorithm update, the March 2021 search ranking algorithm updates, June 2021, November 2021, July 2021. There's so much content that he's been rolling out. We here at Edge of the Web certainly appreciate, we thank Barry for the amount of content he's writing, because guess what? If we went back through our episodes, I bet we could count maybe 10 or 20 tops out of the 500 episodes plus that we're doing that we did not mention Barry Schwartz. I mean, he's always there, he's always present, and he's always been great at actually diving into it and giving something topical right then and there. So thank you, Barry, from Edge of the Web. Andrew, what are your thoughts about Barry Schwartz and his space that he's been occupying in SEO?
Barry is a machine. I mean, this is the kind of we are not worthy moment, right? It's like we kind of messaging about this. I'm not sure if there is an SEO equivalent of sainthood, but Barry probably deserves it. He's just a phenomenon, really. It's like, happy birthday to Barry and SEO Roundtable. I think the amount of content that he produces is just phenomenal. Like, we've all tried like working on websites where we're producing content. Sure. He even writes content when he's not there. Like, he schedules content for, like, it was Hanukkah, like big Jewish holiday recently. He wasn't there because he was celebrating with his family, but there was still content coming out that he'd scheduled because he knew it's just unbelievable. And like, it's really handy for us in the SEO industry, because I know when I go on vacation for like a couple of weeks, when I come back, that's one of the first sites I check, because if there's anything big happened in the search industry, I know it will be there. He never misses a beat. Everything's there. And so even if it's just like, there's this thing that's happened, still more to come, like, I'm investigating, or we're waiting for more chats to come back. And, he gets a lot of brickbats. People like, throw stones at him now and again, because like, literally a Googler kind of takes an intake of breath and Barry's writing a story about it. But it's super useful. It's like, I can't I've lost count of the number of times I've kind of had to refer to his site or his stuff
Yep.
Just to make, when did that algorithm update happen, and what was that thing called, and all those. Yeah, it's a really useful resource. So yeah, happy birthday to Search Engine Roundtable.
Absolutely, absolutely. So thanks from all of us in the SEO community, Barry, and keep on. Hey, what's going to happen when it turns 21? Oh my gosh. I mean, the party that's going to ensue. I mean, you're going to have drunken SEO tweets and posts. That's what's going to happen from Barry Schwartz, right? Maybe not.
He's way too professional for that.
He truly is. He truly is. All right. We want to make sure that you know about SEOChat every week at Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Morty and a sundry of other participants there are always talking about some major thoughts inside of SEO. Hashtag SEOChat this week is going to be hosted by Riley Hope at Riley Hope 13. We'll check out what the topic is. It's actually going to be focused on GBP, formerly known as GMB. That's not confusing at bloody all.
Especially when it's like Great British Pound as well.
I know, I know.
Google.
We can't stop thinking about that. Honestly, maybe it's just bringing it closer to you guys.
Sure.
So check out hashtag SEOChat each and every week. Lastly, want to throw something weird at you folks for the ones that are staying at the end of the show. Another Barry Schwartz Search Engine Roundtable post on December 3rd. Check this out. John Mueller gave a take on doing SEO. He says it's a bit like Jurassic Park. Technically, you can do a lot of things, but should you? So we're going to leave on that note right there. Just because we have knowledge of SEO, should you be maxing out every bloody technique that you very well can for your website? Give you that take. Andrew, what do you think about this?
I think it's always a very good question to ask yourself before you do something stupid. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. We've seen all those things like, it's like, I could create a local landing page for every single city in the United States. You could you?
And on that note, thank you so much for contributing to this week's show, Andrew, and certainly I want to track you down. How can everybody find you on the internet?
I spend way too much time on Twitter, so you can find me. So I'm Optimisey with an S for my American friends. So Optimize with an S and then a Y on the end. So Optimisey pretty much everywhere. So on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on all the socially stuff. I think I might even have it on a T-shirt. Like here you go, Optimisey.com. There you go. So you can find me. You can find me there too. So
that really doesn't.
Thanks for having me on it. It's always loads of fun talking to you guys.
Thank you so much, Andrew. We do appreciate it. And hey, you didn't pull a Morty, so that's always a plus.
Which is always a plus.
Less editing for me.
Yeah, who are you, Jake? I mean, you haven't even been in the show today.
Yeah, I'm still coughing.
All right.
Staying off the mic. I think nobody has to hear me cough.
It's a low bar to jump over, not being a Morty there. So. Set your standards high, Jake. You can do that.
Wow. All right. Well, that's it for Edge News this week. Certainly check out our interview podcast as we drop it in midweek every week. And this one is Darren Shaw. I promise it's going to be dropping this week. Second part of the Darren Shaw local SEO interview. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel when we go live, as well as when we drop in these different takes and nuggets into YouTube. From all of us over at Edge, stay safe, stay well, and do not be a piece of cyber driftwood. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.